Hello guys, hope you are doing well. Uh, I'm here again with another episode of my videos about the reason of NATO failure, US failure in Afghanistan, and why they failed in Afghanistan. After spending like $2 trillion. When on this video, I'm gonna talk about the creation of establishment of Afghan government by US government back in 2001, when US invaded Afghanistan and overthrew Taliban. Actually, they could not overthrow Taliban without the help of inside, without help of Northern Alliance, and without help of neighboring country like Pakistan and Iran. The US and NATO could not defeat Taliban at that, and on that time also. When they took the Taliban was defeated in 2001 to 2003, the US had brought a puppet that we did not know him before. No one knows him before. Hamid Karzai. He was brought to the power by US, by American. He was trying to bring another one, Zia-ul-Haq. I think he was Zia-ul-Haq, or yeah, I don't remember his name, but he was killed by Taliban, and then the Karzai was almost also get almost killed by Taliban, but the U.S. Special Forces saved him, and they set him as president for us, as a temporary head of the government. And then at Bonn conference, they paid warlords that were acting as a representative of Afghans. They set him as president for to Afghans, which actually no one knew. I mean, I personally that, and no one of the people around me, and people I was talking to in the streets knew Karzai before. Karzai was a new face, and if you look back to his the history, to his background, he was working with for American oil company Haliburton, and he was also linked with Taliban during Taliban Haliburton negotiation. They were trying to make a pipeline from Caspian Sea to via Afghanistan, Pakistan to the ocean, Indian Ocean, to bypass Iran. And Hamid Karzai was an employee of Haliburton Oil Company. Haliburton Oil Company. And the Americans set him as a president to Afghanistan, like they did in Iraq, like they are doing in any other country. Like they were trying to do in Venezuela by setting a puppet named Juan Guaido, as a so-called president. And then, when a total corrupted guy named Hamid Karzai was set as president of Afghanistan, and then he founded a very corrupted government. I mean, the U.S. designed a corrupted system for Afghanistan, that this corrupted system did not last long. The U.S. intentionally created a very corrupted, dependent system that could last for a period of time, as long as U.S. need. Once U.S. are done, the system could go down. That is exactly the same system they built in Iraq. This system was built not on skills of people, not on democratic value, but it was based on rural, on sectarial, values, on sectarial things, on sectarial rules. It meant that, for example, in government, 60% of government officials, positions should be dedicated to Pashtuns, and 40%, like 30% to Tajiks, and 15% to Hazaras, and 10% to other minority. This is when you try to build mock a people. If you're trying to build something temporary, you build like this. If you want to build something permanently, you will not base it on sectarial. You will not base it on these corrupted religious sectarial rules. You will establish it on skills of people, on eligibility of the people, and their skills and their ability, and not their race, their color, their sectarial, their ethnicity. You will not base it on that. Look at America. Look at the European country. Look at America. Are made of many races, many religions, many colors. So if you build America, if you announce, hey, America, now we will share, it will like a shared market, we will like a stock market, we will change the system into a sectarial system, and 10% will be black, 15% will be Indian American, Native American, 20% will be Mexican, 5% will be other minorities, and then 60% will be white. If you tomorrow build America like this, if you change the system from America like this, I promise you that America will not last more than a couple years. They brought this, they established the system in Afghanistan exactly like this, on a sectarial, ethnic and religious divisions. And it was so that, for example, in an army unit, in a company of Afghan Army, the 60% of the commanders, sergeants should have been dedicated to Pashtuns, 30% to Tajiks, 10% to Hazaras, 15%. And it was based like this. How a unit of army can fight like this, which is not, instead of focusing on the skills, on the ability, on the intelligence of its soldiers, its forces. Instead of focusing on this, they focuses on sectarian, on ethnic divisions. How can a unit like this, with this structure, how can they fight? How you expect them to fight and to win the war against a very religious, dedicated, radical group? It is valueless. This unit of army with this structure will not last, will not fight, will not achieve anything. We had, for example, I am a veteran of Afghan Army, And for example, we had many time, I was eyewitness that, for example, we did not have a right passionate person for that position. For example, for position of major, or for position of captain, or a sergeant major. But still, we had to give this position to the Pashtuns because of these establishment, because of these tashkil, which is in Persian tashkil, in Afghan language is tashkil, but it's a structural establishment. According to this, we should have every unit, every government structure, every government section should be that 60% to Pashtuns, 30% to Tajik. The positions and ranks to the Tajik, and 15% to Hazaras, and rest to the other minorities. Yeah, we had many times we faced the situation that we did not have right Pashtun for this position. For example, for position of the sergeant major, we needed a guy who could who are skilled and trained good and could take this job and do it best way. We did not have right passion for that, but still we had to take a passion, even if he was uneducated, untrained, unskilled. We had to take him. And you know that the Taliban were also Pashtun, and Pashtun is a tribe in Afghanistan which are a little bit extremely religious, and they are kind of not well educated like other tribes like Hazaras and Tajiks, and they're less educated because they are kind of extremists, or they're radical, a little bit radical, and they stick to their ethnic and to their rural, to their sectarian values. And Taliban also are from Pashtuns, and they grew up among Pashtuns, and also Al-Qaeda also. And therefore, they are not well educated. They were not well educated. They were not at that moment, like I'm talking about 2009, 2010 till 2015, 16. They were not as good as educated. They were not as many as they did not have as many as educated people as Hazara or Tajik. They did not have, but still 40% of the units had to be, every section had to be dedicated to the passion, even if they were not educated, even if they were not skilled. We had, in my unit, we had sergeant, my platoon sergeant, that could not write his name. I had captain that could not write 3-4 paragraph, 3-4 paragraph on Persian language. He could not read. Our generals, the commander, the general, the brigadier general, he posted a comment, post in Facebook. It was like 5 paragraph text in Facebook, and he had over 150 grammatical problems in our language. People like him were set in leadership of the units, of the sections of government. You expect people like this, with this structure, with this corrupted basement, you expect that they fight and win the war. It's not possible. The United States intentionally designed this system for Afghanistan like they did in Iraq. In Iraq, it's also the same. It's a sectarian system. Based, 10% to Kurdish, 5% to Sunnis, 10% to Shias. And it is like this, that you see Iraq still are not stabilized. They are not stabilized. Once in a while we see the protests, we see conflicts in Baghdad streets. And you saw that 2000 ISIS almost took over the Iraq. They arrived to Baghdad gates. 1,500, I think I read that. In most, 1,500 ISIS took over the Mosul from well trained or from modern, from U.S. trained sectarian army of Iraq. 1,500 IS came and took over the Mosul, and they almost took over the Baghdad. Because this system, with this corrupted system that U.S. designed for these two countries, they're not gonna be successful regardless how many years passes. I promise you. Because U.S. intentionally based a system, designed a system for these two countries to keep them alive as long as they need. Once they don't need, once they are done, once they're gone, it collapses. And same thing happened in Afghanistan. And people now ask why it happens. And American try to blame Afghan soldiers for not fighting, for not willing to fight. I'm gonna tell you. And also, the US were controlling the policy of Afghan government, were controlling the policy of Afghan army. They were telling, hey, you should do what, you should don't do that what. In the name of human rights, and these shitty games, these political human rights has been a tool for U.S. imperialism to fulfill their their goals, their political goals, to achieve their political interest in other countries. Otherwise, U.S. don't care about human rights. U.S. does not care about human rights. So we had cases that the Afghan army, in one case that I have seen, the Afghan army arrested two Taliban in battle. Two terrorists in battle. And they were taking these terrorists to their headquarters. And on the way, they got ambushed by another group of Taliban. And then once they start shooting back, these two Taliban prisoners, detainees, jumped out of pickup trucks and tried to run away. And one of the ANA soldiers saw that they are running away. They could not go and capture him again. So they shot him. They shot both of them. And you know what happened to this soldier? This soldier was in prison because he shot detainees. What you should do when they are enemy, and you arrest enemy on battle, and again they are fleeing, they are running away. You should. What you should do? You take shot. And these ANA soldiers would take shot. They were holding accountable for how many bullets they fired. If in situation like Afghanistan, that you every day you had battle, you had like a very, very harsh battle, you count the bullet of soldiers, how many bullets you fired, how many bullets you must fire. It was all designed by U.S. government. It was well corrupted system that U.S. designed for Afghanistan intentionally in order to keep this government alive for a period of time that U.S. need. Once they are done, these can go off. This government can go down, and the Afghanistan remains as a black hole that harm all neighbor countries, including Russia, Pakistan, China, Iran, and harm them. Afghanistan became a black hole now. Security prospect, from threats, refugees, terrorists, all sort of threats come from Afghanistan to neighboring countries now. The United States intentionally wanted this. Don't please believe their nonsense that we fought. Nay, I was working with U.S. Army, and I did from 2004 to 2014. I was direct involved in this conflict, direct with U.S. government, with Afghan government, both of them. And I'm gonna tell you more in next videos, the next episode of my videos. I'm gonna tell more reasons, more evidence I'm gonna give that why Afghan government failed. Why US failed in Afghanistan? Because they intentionally did it. I'm gonna make more video about this. So please follow that. I mean, I'm not asking you to follow my channels, because I'm not used to beg for. I hate when I see these channels keep begging for following or subscribing. I don't like that, and I leave it on you. And if you want it, you can follow or subscribe. If you don't want, if you don't want, then don't do it. I mean, just what I want is what I want you to follow the videos, and because you should know why why they failed, why your money were wasted. That's very important. Why your sons and daughter were killed in Afghanistan without any achievement. Why? It is your right to should know. Regardless if you're American, if you're European, because European sons and daughters were killed in Afghanistan also. European money, trillions, millions of billions of dollars, European taxes were wasted in Afghanistan too. So if you are European, if you are American, you have right to know what happened in Afghanistan, what is happening in Iraq, what your regimes are doing there. Okay? That is my point. I want to tell you these stories. So, till next video, have a nice day. Bye bye.